3, 2, 1, go!
This is Switzerland, and in my trip to Grindelwald, Lauterbrunnen and Mürren. This is one of the most famous areas of the Alps, and for a good reason. The nature here is so pretty, and you got some of the highest peaks of Switzerland here. The hike I'm doing today can be done in many different ways, and there's a train running the whole way, so you can just jump on and off as you feel. And as with any hike, it wouldn't be perfect if you didn't get to take a quick dip in some ice-cold glacier water. My name is Frederick, and these are my adventures. Today, we took the car down to Grindelwald. And it's a bit different today, because we have a group of hikers with different levels of experience. But I will tell you a bit later how you easily break the hike down to accommodate for this. As you can see, we quickly jumped on the road and left Grindelwald behind. You walk towards these massive mountains, which sticks straight out of the ground, and it's pretty impressive. The beginning of the hike is pretty much straight up, and we quickly made 700 meters of ascent, and until here is the part which the rest of the group skipped.
Paul and I started to do the first part of the hike, and we were already tired. We've done 700 meters. There's a beautiful view over here, which I would recommend. Hopefully I have some footage from over there as well.
I did get some drone footage, but I realized I have a lot to learn to make this look good. Anyway, now it's time to fill our water.
Okay, kein Trinkwasser apparently. So you can't drink everywhere.
What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, I don't have any water. What am I supposed to do?
Unfortunately for me, I'd planned to fill my water bottle at the last stop before we left the main road. But if it says don't drink the water, don't drink the water. Now, I have no water until we get to the top.
Today we're crossing from Grindelwald over to Lauterbrunnen. Then we'll see if we actually make it all the way up on the other side to Mürren, or if we have to take the gondola up, the cable car, because the first part is fairly easy. 20 kilometers, 1,200 meters of ascent, 1,400 meters of ascent. But once we get to the other side, then it's instantly 1,000 straight up. And that's actually part of tomorrow's trail. But we decided to stop up in Mürren rather than staying in Lauterbrunnen, because then you get up on the mountain, you get a very nice sunrise in the morning and so on. But let's see when we get there. Today was supposed to rain, but fortunately enough, the sun looks at us every now and then.
The stats I mentioned there were the Alpina route down in the valley, which I connected here with a red line on the map. But if you take that route, you don't climb up to the waterfalls and the glacier. As you saw in the video title, we adjusted the route and you see that in blue here on the map. But I really like this part of the hike, walking next to this massive wall and get some additional views. And right above here, you have Aiger, which is probably one of the most famous mountains here. At this point, we pushed a bit, just to catch up with the others. Soon enough, we caught up with the others, right before we got to the Eigergletscher Station. What our friends did was a bit of a shorter trip, and that was 8 kilometers with 770 meters of ascent and descent, and it takes roughly 5 hours. And this hike is perfect if you want to hike and not die from exhaustion before you reach the top. There are train stops along the whole way, and you really can adjust your hike based on your own needs and fitness level. You can get here both by train and cable car if you don't want to hike, but for us it was the perfect spot for lunch.
So behind me now you have the Eigergletscher. On the other side we have the Eigergletscher train station, and then all the way down, you can see on the top here, and then all the way down Eigergletscher goes. And we're late now in July, so it will have melted a bit more. And this trail is a little bit of a detour from the actual Via Alpina. However, you know, if you look at the background, for me that's totally worth it. Eiger was climbed the first time 1858, and 80 years later they managed to do the wall, the Eiger wall. Now we're on our way down to Lauterbrunnen. It's also one of the more famous parts. We have just gone to the top, and now we're on our way back down into the next valley. This is gonna be rather chill.
As I say in most of my videos, I'm far from reaching my goal of 1,000 subscribers. I know people don't do it because everyone asks for it, and at some point you get tired. But small content creators needs it so much more than large ones. It's the only way for us to hit that 1,000 subscribers required threshold that YouTube has. Please do me a favor and consider helping me out by pressing that subscribe button and like button.
Behind here you will have Jungfrau, which is the train station you have up there, goes through the mountain all the way up there, and that's the highest point which you can get to by train in Europe. I'll show you some pictures of that. And then down there you have Lauterbrunnen, which we're heading to. One of the most spectacular places.
Bro, that view was amazing.
Yeah, it's so much nicer over there.
Most beautiful.
Yeah, it was the best on the whole path, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we were not allowed to swim in the lake, but they had this little jacuzzi pond where there were no restrictions.
So this is basically the epitome of Switzerland. In the mountains, with the glaciers in the background, you just have your jacuzzi bubbles whenever you want them.
And of course, we had to take a little dip. And I was joined by another brave man who even managed more than one dip in this ice-cold water.
3, 2, 1, go!
We're tired. There you go. Backwards it might be nicer. There you go.
The ladies are applauding.
It is cold.
Our mom is, checking on the photo.
Frederick, was it hot enough?
It's really nice actually.
It's really refreshing.
Like compared to what I've done in the past, this is really nice.
What would you do without me? You just skipped it.
I want to be warm and uncomfortable and miserable.
But as always, it's super nice when you're hot to jump into this water. So regardless of which route you take, you'll still end up here. This is the train station, where the train between Grindelwald and Lauterbrunnen connects, and this is also where you change to go up to the top of Europe and Jungfrau. This is also where we left the others so they could get back to their train station and grab the car and later see us down in Lauterbrunnen. So check what I've shown previously in this video and tell me in the comments if it was worth doing this part.
Swiss Alps, beautiful mountains in the background, and you can just buy your cheese, whatever you want. They even have a newcomer right here, so any cheese, because who doesn't want cheese when they're in the mountains, right? And then here you pay them. This is the hole there. Pick whatever you want, and it's all based on trust, because in Switzerland you trust each other.
I would rate this hike an 8. As you can see, it's a beautiful hike, and if you do what half of our group did, you have a much better experience. They basically went up, saw the best parts, and then went down. But if you want to do a full day of hiking, you can also do what we did. But keep in mind that you'll still see basically the same things, but you just cover more of the steep climbing and downhill. As on the way up, the way down is just a pleasant stroll through the landscape, and there are no majorly different seaworthy parts until you get to Wengen. Wengen is a car-free city in Switzerland, similar to Zermatt. I've got a hiking video of Zermatt as well, and I've linked it up here in the right corner. After Wengen, it's just painful steep downhill hiking. And if I would have done this hike again, I would probably have taken the train from Wengen. I would actually argue that you get better views from the windows of the train than you get when you hike this part. Lauterbrunnen is beautiful, and I really recommend you to spend a sunny day here if you have time.
How do you feel?
Finished.
We ended up having to take the cable car up. Mürren is also very pretty, just like Wengen. So we managed to book the place the furthest away from the cable car. It's 1.5 kilometers away with 200 meters of ascent. But we wanted the mountain hut experience, and it was all worth it the day after. But more about that in my next video. That was everything for today. Please consider subscribing. Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.